TCI Constitutional and Electoral Reform Advisor Kate Sullivan has recently launched a set of recommendations after consultation meetings during the months of May and June. It was in August 2009 when the UK government announced that during the period of the suspension of the Constitution, a review of the 2006 Constitution would be undertaken. Kate Sullivan was appointed and was requested to give specific considerations to the qualification for TCI belongership and residence and the process by which this is acquired, the rights and duties of belongers and residents, an electoral system which meets the representational requirements of a small population, produces a viable legislature capable of fulfilling its oversight and scrutiny responsibilities, and minimize the risk of patronage and electoral abuse, qualification for political office, provision for ensuring transparency, accountability, and integrity in public life, any provisions including ones related to financial management which should be anchored in the Constitution to return financial stability and sustainable good governance to the territory. Today, News 4 will highlight Sullivan's recommendations on the governor and the executive government. The first recommendation in this section is to introduce a statement of governance principles and empower the governor to enforce compliance with the principles in government policies and decision-making. At a minimum, the governor should be able to both reject the advice of cabinet and exercise his or her reserved legislative powers to ensure TCIG compliance with the governance principles. According to the report, the 2006 Constitution created the office of Deputy Governor. The 2006 Constitution says that Deputy Governor's role is to assist the governor and to be the first in line to act when the governor is absent. The Deputy Governor must be a belonger and is appointed by the governor in accordance with instructions from the Secretary of State on behalf of the Queen. Now, Sullivan defines the Deputy Governor as 1. Head of the TCI Public Service, and 2. To act in support of the Governor. The Deputy Governor should attend but not be a member of Cabinet and will have no vote in Cabinet. The Deputy Governor's role should not be restricted to belongers and should be subject to an open merit-based competition. It was also recommended that the number of ministers to be appointed by the governor on the advice of the premier be no more than 4, and that there be no separate provision for an office of deputy premier. Quorum for cabinet meetings should be 4, of whom at least 2 must be ministers. Sullivan says she welcomes views on an ideal size for the ministry when it is drawn from an assembly of 15 members. Sullivan also recommended that provide that a minister will be removed from the ministry if A. the Integrity Commission finds that they have breached a code of conduct for persons in public life, or B. the Integrity Commission finds that a minister has failed to comply with the registration of interest requirements on 2 separate occasions. Now, the 2006 Constitution provided a National Security Council as a further advisory body. According to the report, the council did not establish a niche for itself in the TCI structure. Sullivan believes that it provides duplication to and confusion with the role of the cabinet as the key advisory body for the governor. In the absence of any strong call for its retention and to streamline government, Sullivan recommends the National Security Council be abolished. News 4 will have more recommendations on the Attorney General, the House of Assembly, the Judiciary, and the Public Service in a subsequent newscast. Now, Sullivan will have to gather views on these recommendations before she submits an amended set of recommendations to the Governor and the Foreign Commonwealth Office. A draft constitutional order will then be prepared to incorporate the changes. This draft order will be published in TCI later in 2010, and a further round of public meetings will be held before UK ministers to decide on the submission of the final version of the Queen's Assent. For WIV4 News, I'm Takara Bain.